Hello there guys, welcome back to another C# tutorial. In the previous video we worked with Open File Dialog and Save File Dialog. Today we are going to create our own dialogs and see how to work with them. Okay, so first we go to File New Project and we are going to use a C# Windows application here. Okay, and I will leave the name as it is. Okay, so let's say, for example, let me just put a button here first before starting code. Okay, I'm gonna say here on this button, I'm gonna say show my dialog. Show my dialog. Okay, well, dialogs are basically windows. Okay, and these windows are being displayed. That's all. It is as simple as that. Right now we worked with two, which is Open File Dialog and Save File Dialog, and we can actually create our own dialogs. So how do we do that? Well, basically, let's go to Solution Explorer, right click on your project, select Add, and you can go to Windows Form, and when you select that you will get this display here. Okay, so it's gonna ask you to enter a name, so I will leave the name as it is. Okay, and yeah, it's gonna display a number of file types here. You can go to Windows Forms here. Okay, and what you can see here, you can see there is a Windows Form, for example. Okay, or for example an about box. These are basically the same with a little bit of added properties. You can create an MDI form and so on. Okay, so here I'm going to use a Windows form. It's going to be called Form 2. Okay, I'm going to click Add, and when this window gets created, you will find it in the Solution Explorer. There it is. Okay, obviously this is Form 2.designer CS, exactly like the one with Form 1 Designer CS. So now you have two forms. You have the first form here, Form 1, and you have Form 2. Okay, and Form 2 can work like a dialog. So how do we display it? Well, let's go to go here and double click it, and I'm gonna say Form 2 of RM equals a new Form 2. Basically, Form 2 is now a data type. It's a class. So you can create objects. So we're creating an object called of RM. Okay, and it is of type Form 2. And I can display the form now, or the dialog. Dot show dialog. Okay, you remember the show dialog? We use that in order to show the Open File Dialog and Save File Dialog. We use the same method to show any form we want in a model state. Okay, so here, now this is the form, and I'm going to click here. I get another one. Now, by model, I mean when I click back on the original window, the program prevents me from going back here. I must still work on Form 2 until I click X here, and now I can go back to the main window and, for example, click it again or do something else. Okay, this is a model window. Another form is, or if I press here, for example, if I say show semicolon. Now show is kind of a different method. It doesn't create it as a model form. So now if I click here, I get this window, right? But now I can go back to this one and, for example, click the same button again. So now I have two forms. Click it again. I have three forms or objects. And I click it again. And I click that again. So you know, some cases you need show, some cases you need show dialog. But basically, a dialog, for a dialog you use show dialog. Okay, so this is the first thing to notice, is that you must use show dialog. Okay, this is the first thing. Another thing that you must pay attention to is that when displaying a dialog, usually you don't want to minimize it. Okay, let me restore that. Okay, and you don't want, you know, to resize the dialog or something like that. This kind of behavior is for normal windows. You know, dialogs usually have fixed size. Okay, but anyway, this is not always the rule. There's no rule about that. Let's say, just for the sake of learning new properties, that you don't want to display these icons over here. You don't want the window to get, you know, resized. So what do you do? Well, let's go back. Let us display the designer for Form 2. And there are a bunch of properties here. Now, the first thing we want to focus on is control box. So it is set to true. And if you go down here, it's going to tell you what it does. Determines whether the form has a control or system menu box. I'm going to change this to false. And let us go back here. And you will find that there are no controls, no buttons here. Okay. So when we run the application and click the button, you know, there are no extra things. So it's now behaving a little bit more like a dialog. However, we can still resize that. Okay. So, and also we can't close the window. Well, actually, you can press Alt F4. It's going to close that for you. Anyway. So let us disable the resize. Now, for that, there is a form border style. There we go. And it is sizable. Okay. And again, if you forget what that does, you just read the description or search the internet. No problem. Search MSDN. And now we're going to select fixed single. And basically, fixed single prevents the form from being resized. So now we're going to run this. Click here. And now, if I put the mouse here, I don't see the two-sided arrows, you know, and yeah, I can't resize it. Okay. The last thing you want to do is, you know, add functionality to your dialog is like, for example, a button to close it or cancel, and a button for OK. And in this case, we're going to put two buttons. This is the first button. Okay. And this is the second button. Okay. One of them is going to be OK. And one of them is going to be cancel. Okay. And now we are going to double click the cancel event. And the cancel event, I'm going to say this dot dialog result equals dialog result. This one's going to be for cancel, so I'm going to use the enumerated value cancel. Okay. And let's go to form 2 again. And form 2. And for the OK, I'm going to say this dot dialog result equals dialog result dot OK. Now, what does this mean? This means I want to talk to the form itself. Form 2 is going to call itself and change its dialog result to property when this button is clicked, and it is going to return a value called dialog result cancel. Basically, this is not only an assignment, but basically some code will get executed in addition to this, which will cause the window to get closed. Okay, and the dialog result method or function will return the value cancel. Same thing goes here, but the dialog result or show dialog method that the form 1 uses will get the dialog result OK. So to test that, let's go to form 1. I'm gonna here go back and say if this guy or the second form the ShowDialog method equals dialog result OK. In this case, I'm going to say this dot text or text equal OK pressed. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to say this dot text equals cancel. Okay. And now I'm going to run this code. I'm going to click here. Now, I'm going to hit cancel. Check this out. And here it says cancel. I'm going to click here again. I'm going to say OK. And OK pressed. So it is very straightforward. Every time you want to return a value, okay, you just use the dialog result property of the form. When you set that to cancel or OK, the form automatically closes itself. Okay, and if you use the ShowDialog method, this will be the result. Okay, cancel or OK, these will be the results that are being displayed to the user. Okay, so I hope this is kind of clear for you guys. Now the next thing is, well, now I have two forms. What about, for example, what if I need multiple dialogues? Well, there are no limitations in VB, okay, as far as I know. For a number of windows, you can create another one, and that other window will be another dialog. Okay, so I'm gonna hit add. Okay, this is form 3, and you can use ShowDialog for that. No problem. Okay, and you can use form 4, 5, 6, and so on. And by the way, you don't have to keep the name as it is. Sometimes you need to give it, a meaningful name so that you can understand what the form does. Because in big applications, you will have too many forms, and you won't be able to keep track using numbers. So I'll use, for example, this one, the main window. In my case, I use main window. Add, for example, person, edit person, display report. So the window name will be descriptive enough for me to understand what it does. I don't have to go and double click it in order to see the design and remember what it does. No, the name is important because it helps me identify things quickly. Okay, now, well, one of the questions will be, well, now I have multiple forms. The program always starts from form 1? Well, not always. You can go to your project properties and you'll get these, little tabs. Okay. Anyway, so if you go to the application property, okay, and oh, wait a second, output type, where was that? Sorry, was it build? Yeah, the thing is that I'm still mixing VB with C#, and this is my problem. Anyway, however, I think we go to program if I remember things correctly. Yes, I go to the programs.C# program, and here you find that we are starting from form 1. We are calling the run method on form 1. Okay, we are creating a new form 1 object and pass it to the run method. Okay, so if we want another form to get displayed, let's say form 3, I just change this to 3. Okay, so now the program will start from another form. So let's run here, and you see form 3, no problem. What about if you want, let's say, form 2? Just change this to form 2, and when the program runs, it's going to start from form 2. Okay? Yeah. It is as simple as that. Okay. So, I hope this explains for you guys how to work with dialogues. Now, let us consider something kind of needed by many, and many programmers ask that question, which is, how can I pass values from form 1 to form 2? And how can I get the values back from form 2 back to form 1? Well, this is a very simple thing to do. Okay, let's say on form 2 you want to enter a name of a person, okay, and the name entered here should be sent back to form 1. So in this case we will get the value from form 2 and send it back to form 1. Well, how can you achieve that? Well, let's place a text box here. Where is the text box? There's a text box. Okay, and the text box is called, in this case, text box 1. There we go. This is form 2, and this is here. You can see the name text box 1. No problem. And we want form 1 to get the value that is written here on form 2. So let's see. Let's go to form 1. Let's double click here. So we define of RM to be of type form 2, and we show that, and then we show the dialog, and if everything's fine, we are not gonna display OK press, we are gonna display the name being entered. And to access that, we will use of RM, which represent form 2, and form 2 have a number of objects inside it. One of them is the control text box 1. So we say dot text box 1 and dot text. Now the problem is we can't access this one, text box 1. So let me go to form 2 here. Okay, this text box 1, and I'm gonna go and change the modifier to be public. Yep. Okay. Just remember this: if you can't access the object doesn't appear in Intel Sense. Okay, here you just change its modifier to be public so that other parts of the code can access it. So now, sorry, let me show you this again. Dot. You can see now text box 1 is visible. So just click here. Dot text. Okay. So what does this line of code means? Okay, it means. Let me explain these three. The first one is create an object of type form 2 and make of RM point to it. And then I want the object that of RM points to, I want that object to be shown as a dialog. Okay, and after that dialog closes, I want you to check the result of it. If the user clicked the OK button, I want you to do the following. I want you to go to that object or that window, and I want you to go to the text box on that window, and I want you to get the text there and then pass it to this window such that you will change the title. Okay, this is what it means. Okay, let us try this out. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna say Smith and hit OK, and you see now the main window changes the name, okay, or the caption to be Smith. Okay, it's very straightforward. Now this is, you know, the basic way to get values from a dialog window, okay, or any other window. No problem, very straightforward. Now what if you want to pass value into form 2? Okay, passing value to form 2 is very easy. Before showing the dialog or before showing the window, you just say of RM dot, and you specify the variable or object you want that you wanted to hold that value. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna fill the text box with hello and then display the message, and the user could change that, and then I will get the changed value. So let us try this. Okay, so it's very straightforward. Go to the object, go to the text box, fill it with something, and then show that to form that contains the text box. Okay, let's suppose that. Let's see, and I'm gonna click here. you can see there's a message, hello. I'm gonna say hi. So in this very simple code, we passed value from our main form into form 2 and put that in text box 2. Okay, now one might be asking, well, what if I don't want to change the value of a text box? Let's say I want to do some internal processing, okay, and don't want to display anything visibly, anything that is visible to the user. Well, that's very easy. All you have to do is create a variable, a public variable, and you fill that. So let's go to form 2 here. Let me double click this one, and I'm going to define a variable. So this is a class. I'm going to say public, okay, info, public string info. Okay, so here we have a variable called info that is part of the form 2. So in our form 1, now we can, instead of working with the text box, okay, we're going to say frm.info, there we go, equal hello. So now we passed hello into info, and info could do anything with that. Okay, so let's go to form 2. Let's go to the OK event. I will just place a breakpoint so that later on I can show you the value of info is being passed, although we are not working with it in this case, but I just want to show you that we have it. So let's run this code, and I'm going to click here. Okay, I'll put something, and I'm going to hit OK. Now the breakpoint is being hit, right? Now let me show you the variable info. When I put the pointer here, you find that it is hello, and the value came from form 1, okay, before calling, the ShowDialog. And one of the things that might be useful for you guys is to display, where is that? View windows, the stack window, call stack. This is the call stack window. It shows you, the order of, things that are being called. Okay, and it is kind of important. So, starting from, the very bottom, it's the main part that started everything here. So we have what? We have Windows Form Application Program main. Okay, in this case, it means this part. This is the program, right? And this is the main method. So this is where our code is. Okay, and it says here it's on line 18. Okay, so here, if you put the pointer here on line 18, by the way, go down here, you see that it is line 18. Okay, so it means everything started when this statement get executed, run in new form 1. Okay, so what happens? Okay, the form got displayed, and then something happened that caused this call. So what's this call? It is in Windows Forms Application 15.exe and Windows Forms Application 15. And form 1 button 1 click. So let's go. This is form 1. Okay, we have only one button, so if you go double click, what do you find? This is button 1 click. Okay, this is button 1 click. Okay, so here, what happens? And by the way, we can also display the line. Come on, sorry. Okay, it's line 23. Okay, so line 22 and 23. Okay, so the program reached this point. Okay, and then another call. Okay, and when the program is this way, it already passed the value in the info, and now we are at this point. Okay, in the program. Just a second. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so yeah. So basically, I just want to show you that how the program executes things. And now we are now in the in form 2, and the value of info is already set. So when I put the pointer here on info, I see that it contains a value. It is not empty string. Okay, so this is how the values are being um, the values are being changed. Okay, so basically we send the values from our main form, which is form 1, into this form, and then we called this form and displayed it in the model state. Okay, and we continue. Okay, sorry about that again. Okay, and so it's very straightforward. Okay, now, well, that's it. Yeah, probably let us make a simple application, okay, where like a program that will ask you to enter username and password, and the program will check for some stored value. Okay, so you will have a username and password, and the program will check that. So we will go and select file and new and project. There we go, and it's going to be Windows Phones application. I'm going to hit OK. So this is going to be form 1. I'm going to rename that to make things easier. Okay, I'm going to make this main form. Oops. Okay, and it's going to ask me if I want to change the name of the class. I'm going to say yes, I want to change it. Okay, to be the same as the file here. And I'm going to create a password, something to hold the password. So I'm going to add what? I'm going to add another Windows form, and I'm going to call this password form. And now the password form has a number of things I don't want the user to do. First of all, I don't want the user to change its border, its size. So I'll search for form border style and make this fixed single. Okay, I don't want it to have a control box. And by the way, regardless of that, you can always maximize and minimize a form even if you can't resize it. So here there is a minimize box and maximize box. I'm going to make these both false to make sure the user doesn't maximize and minimize the form or the password dialog. And this one, I'm going to call this login, so that this one gets displayed here. Next, you need to put the fields for username and password, and for that we're gonna work with a new control called label. And the advantage of label control, or its job, is just displaying a label. It just displays some text. It doesn't do anything. So here there's label 1. I'm going to change it into username. There you go. And I'm gonna put another one. There's gonna be password. Nice. So we have username and we have password. And obviously we need a way to enter the username and password. And where is the text box? We need 2 text boxes. One for the username and another for the password. There we go. So this is the first one. And there's the second one. And we have these 2. Okay. And let's go up here. We need 2 buttons. This is a button. Okay, maybe move this up a little bit. I'm gonna hit Control, drag and drop. Okay, this is gonna one okay, and the others cancel. Click the first one. Okay, and click on the second one. It's gonna be cancel. Enter. And when you click the cancel, you can say this dot dialog result equals dialog result dot cancel semicolon, and this one, okay, I'm gonna say this dot dialog result equals dialog result dot okay. That's wonderful. And let's go back here. No problem. Okay, so the password part or password picker now is finished. Let's go to our main form. So what happens? How do we display a password picker? So let me double click on the form. So in the load event gets executed before the form gets displayed to the user. So I'm gonna say here password form PSW equals a new password form, and then I'm gonna say PSW.showDialog. Okay, and actually I want to check on that. So if ShowDialog, I need to put the bracket, forgot that. Okay, if ShowDialog doesn't equals okay, dialog result dot okay, in that case I'm gonna say application dot exit semicolon. Otherwise we will check the values. So let's run this. So I'm gonna hit cancel, the program finishes. Instead I'm gonna hit OK without entering anything. I see the form 1. Now we need to get the values. Okay, so if you try to do this, we'll check a username. Okay, so here if psw dot text box, oh, I forgot to change how visible the the text boxes. So I select these two text boxes and change the modifiers. Where are the modifiers? From private to public, so that I can access the values in them. And by the way, when I write in this is a text box, so all the password will be shown to others. In order to avoid this and only display like stars or dots, go to password char property in the text box and change that to something like, for example, star, and hit enter. Okay, so now let me go to our main form and let me change things. Okay, so now if, let's say, PSW, go to the password window dot text box 1 dot text, and I want to make sure that the name is Smith dot equals Smith. Okay, and as should make it all small, Smith. Okay, and PSW dot text box 2 dot text dot equals, say, password 123. So here I'm setting the password to be 123. So if the name is Smith and the password is 123, in that case I don't have to do anything, just continue execution and everything will be fine. However, if it is not, okay, I'm gonna put this mark, explanation mark, before the conditions, which means if this is not what is being entered, if not, let's say if this is not the Smith with password 123, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna just end the application dot exit. Okay, so now let's run this. I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna say Smith 123 and okay, no problem. And let me run this. I'm gonna Smith, okay, the wrong password, okay, program exit right away, some rubbish there, enter, program exit right away. Okay, so you see it's very straightforward to access the value in other forms. I just enter the name of the form, enter the name of the control, enter the the property of the control, and do whatever I want with that. And by the way, this might seem strange, but basically this is actually returning a string. So the equals part is working on the string returned by this part. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, so I think that's enough for today about forms and dialogues, how to pass values between forms. Hope you'll find this useful. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Bye bye.